아니 지금도 한 진예 바당 구이바다미 that's 소소라랑기 네 만저야 안 소위 튕예 강하당 되는 현다기 안 지 통중 다야당 되는 소소이 내기 대비기 되는 내 친구 되는 유리 갑라 안 니마 전주sem바 남기 당보냠는 간스는 거라세네 근데 쳐서 안 레기 되고래 소소랑 개왕 레기 되고래 삼제 안지 지게 될야 안두스전 렌제라 이치시야당 안디 토네 안을 지게 다 세텔야 안지 진배님란다 주림라서 발스 소마토바이나 마음반함서야 되니게 동안 용어야 차기에 삼제네 엔 진배님란다 주림소야라서 봐 주배님라 강토도 지고레스 아니 디마세 아니 다 현다 미션 되니게 통한도 안 될야 닝세당 닝제기야당 안디게 안 소수의 대수기 동아디게 소수의 소수기 게 소소ल्या 지게 주례제 소수의 인스 마바치야다 나 소수게 게외 자와 강사바 디다 탐제 안 디티부 대기디게 콘솔을 파 당위게 안지 동len지 두스제네 곰냠는 거레스 안디네 장하저 이내야 안디네게 강아체네 두스제네 삼다제 안는 냠는 거야 다디는 거저 두스제네 아야네 양도 삼다 곰리지 거기 계시모레서 제가서 디네 쇼베 디고야 시르와.
This morning we continue to look at how the most skilled of these skilled beings, the bodhisattvas, transform situations that we find really difficult into the paths that lead to enlightenment. And we saw that, for example, when they encounter situations where people talk down to them or belittle them, and in situations of impoverishment and others, how they deal with this skillfully. And in general, this great being, the Bodhisattva, having reflected well on cause and effect, has come to see very clearly that all such situations that... let me correct myself here. So the verses we're looking at this morning are the practices of bodhisattvas. But those bodhisattvas, when they were aspiring to become bodhisattvas, when they were aspiring to give rise to the paths of the bodhisattva, how did they train? So the way they related to these situations was that when they were in a situation where people were talking down to them or belittling them, or they were impoverished or severely ill, they would then, as aspirant bodhisattvas, as trainees in the techniques to generate the paths of the bodhisattva, would first remind themselves of the law of cause and effect, reminding themselves that the position that they find themselves in now, this unwanted situation, has come about in dependence on causes that they had accumulated in their previous lives. They now have met ripening conditions, and they are experiencing the ripening result of previously accumulated negative karma. Therefore, the aspirant bodhisattva gains ever greater conviction. I have to ensure that I do not act like an ordinary being. I do not act under the influence of the afflicted minds, and thereby continue to create the causes that lead to suffering. I must rather ensure that I emulate the example of the bodhisattvas, I emulate the being that I want to become, and I rather ensure my mind is always on virtue, practicing generosity, having a mind of ethical restraint, patience, joy, perseverance, and so forth. And thereby, I'm ensuring that I'm creating the causes that will ripen in future lives, in my desired circumstances that are highly conducive to becoming a bodhisattva. Moreover, I will emulate bodhisattvas in a further way, reminding myself not only on causality, but also the cause of the negative karma and contaminated karma that beings create, the afflicted minds. And therefore, I remind myself that this being before me, who is causing problems for me, is under the influence of afflictions. They have no freedom. They're creating the causes for further suffering, as well as suffering right now. And thinking like this, the aspirant bodhisattva like a bodhisattva, generates compassion for the being before them. Understanding that they've generated all this virtue now, this commitment to continue in the practices of generosity and so forth, as well as having generated compassion for the suffering being before them, all this virtue that has been generated in dependence on this being, they offer to this being with a heartfelt wish. May this being not suffer again. In fact, may this being come under the care of spiritual teachers and train in the paths of the Mahayana too. May all this virtue I offer to them, may it ripen on their continuum. And any suffering that this being is still to experience, myself, may it rather ripen on myself, because I can transform these situations into the paths of a bodhisattva. And in this way, the aspirant bodhisattva also practices giving and taking. So this is how we should train as well. Now we'll continue with further trainings of bodhisattvas, where they transform adverse circumstances into the path. So here we come to where someone is wealthy and renowned and praised by others, and is shown great respect. So how do bodhisattvas deal with such situations?
Namte buye nodra topgyur kyang CB balju nimbo mesene kangba meba Geshe lali yins.
The 19th practice of bodhisattvas. Even if I were famous and revered by all and gain riches similar to that of Vaishyavana, seeing that worldly glory and wealth is essenceless, being without conceit is the practice of bodhisattvas.
Romang jiyu du sidu, da soso rang ane jike, da je yunde yagu yoba che, ane je suku yagu yoba dan, dine jike soso ki lega yagu ra chidu kabla, mi shanta ki, oda mi di yagu du siya da, tuyanga da ya da, ane jik mi chasang ki soso tuyo di, ane gusheb che ya da, ane dine yungurwa, ane dine shungures.
Here it's referring to situations where a person has really favorable circumstances, many good qualities, they do work which has great meaning and benefit, and therefore people respect them. They respect them because of the work they do, the qualities they have, their favorable circumstances, perhaps their wealth, and they show respect and talk and praise this person as well. So there are such circumstances in the world, and how do bodhisattvas deal with this? That was with regard to the first line, even if I were famous and revered by all. Then with regard to the second, and gain riches similar to that of Vaishyavana. So yeah, explicitly, it's referring to an abundance of material resources and great wealth.
안지게 제와 지게 유미인베나다 연전 첨부로 쉬어베나다 근데 미차상게 거우지 되는지 소설이야 지게라 저거나 다 미주와 현다지 통어도 아딜이야 기시해야 기시라 마실라지야다 아니 미교를 미지가로 지게라 셰로 지네 될이야 아니면 기시하다 미교와다 규모로 신의 될이야 아직 기시 마시 낭매시 통중 다야 되는 거로 와다 가게 게다 나야 집배 지부인 삼제 나 게라 친부인 삼제 나 왕다 친부인 삼제 엔디니기 나미 망병알 지구시에요 아니 미티 충충 교어디님도 기시해는데 나 밤쇼 그래 삼제 되니기 아직 나게 Sanji Wangi Shanlia Tongshia, the Ungurwa. Then I had Guchimpuration and I bench Chimpu in some jen, Digi, Shanlia Tongshon Daya, and D Tony, that's Sosuki, Damyanda Yoba, and Benju Yubi Wangi, D Tony, Shala Tongshon Daya, Shanlia, Gangatea, and the Jimanguli, the Sosuki, Dondatus Maruna, Shanlia, Lamsan, Gangate, Zangana, Daya, Tuzi Daya, then the Yungurwa, then exchange. Just that the nation, Jesamanam, and the Bendigo, you take a correct Gomashigores, Yamlinganes Nangores, that diva, and nearly diva Kushan.
So those who are in the situation where they have great fame and are revered by others, and also if they are particularly wealthy. So here, if in such a position, then they are likely to be surrounded by people who praise them for their qualities or their resources, praise them and agree with everything they say, only talk about their good qualities, don't want to talk about anything that they observe that is not praiseworthy. And here this person then, it's very likely that being surrounded by those who just praise them and talk them up, that their pride will grow. They'll believe that there is something special about them. And with pride and conceit very dominant within themselves, they will see others as beneath them. They will look down at those who are not wealthy like themselves. If they are being praised for a particular physical magnificence, very beautiful, very handsome, then they'll look down on those who do not have such a praiseworthy physique. If they are people relate to them in a particular way because of their fame and their renown and their influence on others, they're likely to look down, belittle those who do not have fame or have less fame than them, who don't have the influence that they have. In this case, when pride and conceit dominate so, it's very likely that they'll act out under that. It's not likely just to be ripen in their minds and abide only mentally, but to be acted on. They'll talk down to others. They'll talk badly to others, about others. And they're likely actually to engage in physical actions which bring harm to others because they don't value others. So this does certainly happen in the world.
And the CB Baju, Nimbo Messine, Kamba Meba, Gesela, Chisa, the nation Manamki, the Negi, Sosugi, and the Wanta Chembota, and the Jisu, Yabota, Rigiabota, the Negi Cubenjo Yabot, the Nishu Kalaya, the Nishuban, Delia, Nakia Makiwache, Nagiki with Sablaya, the Negi Chasada, CB Koa, Guno Longe Chasa, Midawares, Kiji Jiva, Jitu Wars. The Muyomar, Chazanzuki, and the Sosugi, Chicken, Sosugi, Tamyada, Yobata, Sosugi, and Subota, the Niki, and the Rikta, the Niki Yahoyoben. This is Chazan, Midawa, Kiji, Gyoro, Chazan, Tapo Timbuskaya, Mares, Chazan, Dinianza, the Niki, Nagachin, Karcha or Tipe, Kasan, King of the Midabu or Shivanaji. That is over the Sivanashi, yes, Chazan Lamsa. Taking to get Chictinigi Shandal, and the Chung chair, and Lamsan Guo Rocho, the Martina Guchos. Chetan to Shia, the Lamsan Guchos, and to go to the Yawakanesi, Lamsan Guchos, Euro Chelayovena, and Jungo Kienjata, Mesho Yata, and Chulo Kienjat, Gumago Troyata, and then Denishan and Lamsan Guo Rocho, the Mitawa, Kiji, Nimbus Kayamares, Tiso, Samja, and and those ten some dache, and then I get you almost, I get my give you subtila, and then Campa Meba, I get Mevache, do something and I get you almost. Then I get my give a masse, then Ningbo Meva, it's not Lamson Gucho, it's not the Lamson Gucho, not that Subu Yapo Yobache, and it's Sumi Shandagi, and it's a social around ya, Chikuship, you do cap tela, Nishan Pemba Trupna. Pemamongo 2 days. Chesa, me that is Michasang Sosola go Chevan, Sosola, Dijiroji, Dimajalan, Yingirwad. Chesa, the names are me, Ya Shanlia, and the Geshe Thubten Rabten, Shengi Tipo Poyatan, and gave out to Pando Yachimbo, Tubudu, Jesa Denigi, Gohaptelia, Nishan, Pemba Maruneta, and then Digiminos and Pemba Tuyata. And the Sosogi, Gunurka, Yovene, Disu Gunurtia, and the Gaji GB Russian, Namsan teacher, Tawatimbo Yoma, Dinenza, that the Yudi Kablaya, and Yakonchola Chobo Pueta, Ma, and you can go to Jimbeta, Jimmy and Yamnchi, to Chimamata, and that Chike Senache Jajabena, and the Rashinigala Pantomia, Chesa, Dadanga, Tien Zangpo, Yabotoya, and the Chick Benjo Yabochaya, Yawangami Jimbi Jivudan, and Yawangami Surim, Sevasun, Sevocombi Jivucha, Chesami, that Sedelia, Dina Yobatela, Naja, Sana, Shanla, Onachuja to the Zan, Di Dibare, Chesan Di Jivu, the Mahobana, Mason Yata, Dunga Yomatiza, that the Mahobana, the Niki, Geneshanlia, Pamper to Chibi, to be Dandalia, and the Lu, Na, Yukone, Shanlia, Shingi Dunga said, the Digitulia Pampakang, to the Tuyata, and then Benjo Dike, Naya Control, Chobokuya, Shanlia, Jimba Dache, and Shingi Dunga said, Digitual, Chi, Samje, all those in Naya Jena, Shanlia, Tonjon Jake, Sabla, and Shanlia, Pamper Tuyaki, and this one, Shan Dunga said, the Digituya, Pamper Tuella, Beshetan Goddess, and the Judges and Manamji, Lucian Chalen and Gorege.
Bodhisattvas, beings who've created such vast stores of virtuous karma, certainly do find themselves in situations such as this, where they have comfortable material conditions, they receive a respect from others, they're praised by others, and have a great reputation. So in such a situation, a bodhisattva guards their mind, makes sure that they don't come under the influence of their afflicted minds. And how do they do so? They remind themselves, as we see here in the third and fourth line, seeing that worldly glory and wealth is essenceless. They have attained the exalted state of being a bodhisattva, independence on all these previous practices, and including the fourth one, which was the meditations on impermanence, in particular on the impermanence of this life, how this precious opportunity will end. Reflecting on impermanence in a vast manner, they will understand that all impermanent phenomena, such as their reputation, such as their good qualities, their good qualities, such as material resources, these are all impermanent, and therefore they've come about in dependence on causes and conditions. Secondly, they change momentarily, and third, they will cease. Changing momentarily, and the fact that they'll cease, makes it very clear. There's no point getting proud and arrogant about something that is deteriorating. It's deteriorating before one. For example, material objects are changing momentarily and not necessarily improving. They will all cease. Moreover, all these impermanent phenomena have come about independent on the accumulation of causes. So here the Bodhisattva knows very clearly, as these phenomena are impermanent, there's no point being proud and grasping at them. Secondly, having come about in dependence on causes, seeing the benefits of for example, a good reputation, seeing the benefits of material resources, knowing that these have come about in dependence on causes, the Bodhisattva will strive to accumulate further causes, because what they have attained is not lasting, it's not stable, it's not reliable. It will deteriorate if further causes are not cultivated. So to ensure that in their future lives they continue to have an abundance of resources, as well as their good qualities growing ever more, they will accumulate those causes. So in addition to these the reflections on impermanence and causality, also considering that these are bodhisattvas, wherever they have qualities that are praiseworthy or an abundance of resources such as great wealth, they will use these to fulfill their innermost ambition, to fulfill their heartfelt desire, which is to alleviate the suffering of others. So therefore, the abundance of resources they'll use to aid others, to help others in terms of accumulating the causes for happiness and eliminating the causes for suffering. They'll use whatever good reputation they have and the qualities of their personality, such as being as easily getting on with others, to influence beings in a positive way, guide them towards virtue, guide them away from non-virtue. So thinking like this then, the Bodhisattva accumulates vast stores of virtue, through not coming under the influence of the afflictions, and thereby practices ethical restraint, as well as through accumulating further causes to ensure that they have ever greater favorable conditions in future lives. Moreover, love and compassion arise for others, and their commitment to live a life of greatest meaning, a life dedicated to easing the burden of suffering of all beings, as well as to guiding beings to accumulate the causes that will lead to lasting happiness. This commitment to utilize all their resources, their life, their speech, as well as all their mental power in this regard, grows ever stronger. So this is how a Bodhisattva deals with such circumstances. And as we see in the fourth line, they never come under the influence of pride or conceit.
Denegi, that Janshu Semba Namgi, those Nyamlin Nadi, Nyama Janshu Semba Ye Galan, Diso Yana Yando, Deschina, and Chik Yana Yando, Samataje, Malia, Benjo Yabu, Yuchimbo Chavena, and then the Chiki, and then I didn't China, and I get my Jabat in the Super Committee Chiki said, Yana Yando Combalatene, and the Chikiam to Gorva. But in I said that digging around the Lobja, Garden and Goresana, that's also around, and the Suya Puta. Me doing me Nyongo doing Arache, Michasang do Chen Kushap Chigu Yobana, so Pinjo Yaboban, Delia Nagakin Tigmares, is not in his around in a source and that the dinner is so nice in Chene, that around to Pinjo Cetelia, Sukuya Boyonata, and the Chige, and Michasang doing Rava, and it Pinjo Yaboyama Tikasa, Yawanga Magi, Sosorangi, Jimmy Yamen Jimbi as Jebeki Tebu, that the Setele Penjo Yabuchore, Sosorangi, Subo Yapoyonata, Tamyanda Yapoyonati, Wanda Chimboyonati, Yawanga Magi, Srim Sovike, the Milimboji top, and Denegi, the Seva Combata, Denegi, D engine, D Tebures, Cesa, D Tebure, and that day, Teso Jade in a Teso Kijiki, Chipi, Mitabaki, Mevatoyo Marchesam, Cesa Dene, that the Kohab Yudu Kablia, Tingang, Ayache, Judike, Sena Chebaina. Then Dibari, Cheson did to give a Chimalanga son Kituri, Gangate, Yuchagore, Denisa, Deniki, go up Yudukabiangi, Shalia, Pamba, Gangato, Chitu Tugi, Sada, Sosuki, Lu, Tanda Yopata, and the Chiki, Rangi, Wanta Yopa, She Yopati, Shalia, Shengi Digi Jubiata, and the Ganga Salia, Pejiki inside. Sosuki, Benjo Yopati, and control Chobo Piata. And Ma Shandalia and the Chikchimba Shengi Dunga said the Digi Jubiagi and Chochogi Yamlin and the Chikchasala Yaboyalia, the Natolia, Bishitangi, Sambig, Dinigi Yanzu Yane Yado, that Sosole Yobaina, Dinigi some diary. That Sosole Meva Yinayang, Mahobana, Dinis Jubaina, Midinichina, Sambigi, Ondus Yana Yado, Gomiati, Gomshiti Chakore, Jazan, Ondus Jewadi, Danga Zugiti, Denigi, and that did you love the Liare, Carsana, the Neonang and Yaki and Yanga, Shella, Tonjo, Yanga, Deneza, Shalia, Divasage, Mansaki, Gusado, and Deneza, two Sinyam, Nangure, as an answer, Labjal Masonadi, Nangore, Deneza, Anzuki, the dinner, Shin, and some Diana, Semlia, Chandorja, the Chagorva.
The Bodhisattvas, before Bodhisattvas generated bodhicitta and entered the paths of the Bodhisattvas themselves, they trained in practices such as these. They utilized their resources, their wealth, their good qualities in the ways that bodhisattvas do, to the best of their abilities. They emulated the examples of bodhisattvas. So therefore, we too should do the same. So whatever good qualities we see in ourselves, whatever resources that we have, whatever wealth we have, or fame, or influence, or power, these are not suitable to generate pride towards. In the world, people generate a pride towards many things, towards their nationality, towards their physique, power, wealth, and so forth. This is very mistaken. We should not, as aspirant bodhisattvas, make such a mistake. We need to be very aware. These have all come about dependent on causes. They will not last. They change momentarily and they will cease. And therefore, they are essenceless. Having no essence, grasping at them with pride is misplaced. It's ignorant. It's foolhardy. So therefore, the first point for us is that we must guard ourselves against the arisal of pride. Secondly, having reflected now that these are impermanent and came about in dependence on causes, we commit to striving to accumulate these causes again, to ensure that in our future lives we have resources and good qualities at least as good as we have in this life, and ideally far better, so that we can be of ever more benefit to others. And here then, the second branch, the first was to protect ourselves, protect our mind. The second is to expand our mind, committing to use whatever we have in a skillful way to bring benefit to others. Where we have an abundance of material resources, use these to help others, and help others in meaningful ways. In particular, help others in ways that will enable them to identify and eliminate the causes that will lead to suffering, identify and develop the causes that will lead to lasting happiness. This is particularly important. Also to use our influence and our power and influence in society to bring benefit to others. And whatever good qualities we as individuals have developed, utilize these as much as we can to benefit others. So this is how ourselves as aspirant bodhisattvas should train. On the one hand, we guard ourselves against the afflictions. In this verse, particular pride and conceit are we being advised against the arisal of these. And the reason is the same as before. The afflictions produce suffering immediately, and just due to their arisal, but even more so if we act under their influence, create the causes for future sufferings. And when they ripen as propelling karma, can only lead to rebirth in the lower realms. With a goal of becoming a Buddha for the sake of others, merely having the afflictions is contrary to that. Certainly, having to be born in the lower realms due to our previously accumulated karma prevents the attainment of our goal. So therefore, the first emphasis here is to guard our mind. The second is to broaden our mind so that we utilize all the resources we have to be of benefit to others. Utilize them skillfully in the most meaningful way with our wisdom to benefit others. So we need to train mentally in this, repeatedly over a sustained period, train our minds, transform ourselves. So this is how we practice emulating bodhisattvas.
당한조 디리와 안주기 동안여야 당 강아제야지 당한조래 남규잉한조기 가르치고 하세네 치료기 미티기 가지고야 안주 자오래 건조하는 누구를 써야지 안주기 데설야 안 축보자야다 안지 녀라시야다 되네 마자야다 되네기진 디메바 쇠샤베네 당하기부 연구를 삼지 디지고로 와당한조기 어디네자 다디 디삼지 안에 가지고 기부용 통말에서 그래 다 가르치고 그러스네 당한조 기부용을 장원에데 가르친 셰다를 셰되샤 셰다 디모숨들이 예정한조 장원에데 진짜 되샤 셰다 디모숨들이 체델에 이나야 가지고야 셈마기버셔야당 아니 지랑 셈마기버셔봐 디 마기버셔 마세 랑기 류라 나자 나야 아니 셰헬야 셈마기버셔 셰행리 강아제야 라신 니가를 체델에나 강아지고래 제가 자오레스 다 시에다 되셔 시에다 디모 숨디기 깨워치만 량아 디원게 량아 바사제 깨워치만 안소게 되는 안소이 때라 누가 봐도 매번 용과 차고 제가 장원이에 시에다들이 시에도 되셔 시에다 디모 숨들이스 되는 인자 당한도 자 아주 매워 써야 돼 말마서는 마자고 술 마자고선 되셔 시에다 디모들이 마자고 그래지래 제가 다 마자고 상한도 자 당한도 자원원이디 시에당 공조 delea magan schiagurese di mashigorda
the trainings for bodhisattvas now continue to a new part. So here the text comes to a part that again turns us to think of how ordinary people in the world tend to relate to sufferings as well as to happiness. Those who are not spiritually developed are dominated by the external world, seeing that this as is the source of happiness and the cause of suffering, or the source of suffering. For example, when they have someone they don't get on with, so the text use the term enemies, when there's someone they don't get on with, someone who causes harm to them or to their loved ones, the natural reaction of those who are not skilled in the Buddha Dharma is to blame that person for their suffering, thinking, if that person were to be out of my life, I'd be happy. That person is the source of my suffering. Their absence would be the source of my happiness. This is pervasive in our world. It's this way of thinking that leads to conflict between peoples, whether within a home, between communities, and also between nations. Thinking that the source of our suffering is in the world outside and the source of our happiness abides there too, is completely mistaken. Someone who aspires to the paths of the Buddha Dharma needs to look within themselves and recognize where our true enemy resides. It's not external to us at all, but is within. Our true enemy is the three poisons, the minds of ignorance, attachment, and anger. For as long as our true enemies abide, we will suffer. As long as they abide, those that we interact with will receive harm from us. As long as the afflictive minds, these three poisons of ignorance, attachment, and anger abide within us, we will suffer now, and we will create the causes to continue to suffer life after life. Our interactions with others will bring harm to them now, and will continue to do so in other lives. Our true enemy is not to be found anywhere other than within, and it is these three poisons.
That's it. Rangi Shedang Zhawo Matulna, Chiro Zhawo Duishin Perwar Gyursa. Geshe Jamna Ningje Mabongi, Rang Yu Dulua Gyalse Lalin is.
20th practice. Whilst the enemy of my own anger remains unsubdued, though I may conquer external foes, inner ones will only increase. Therefore, through the forces of love and compassion, subduing my own mind is the practice of bodhisattvas.
That is where Rangi Shedang Zhawo Matulna, Chiro Zhawo Duishin Perwar Gyuru said, that Garasungorasene, Jezan Manzu Yu Kondrodi Zhawo Retier, Jezan Manzu Yu Kondrodi Ma Meva Sugores. Control the Meva Seva and control the Rang Makiva Suata, Shan Makiva Seva, Rashin Nikala Gangate, control the Gishikore, Just a control Jamani, the Rangi, Jawa Dire, the Meva Sugores, Matuna said, the two, my Meva Suan, the Meva Masuaje, Rang, you control the Meva Masuaje, control the Baki, Beje Taje, in Chirugi Jawa, and around the Chiru Organ to Jawa and Mipacho Delia, Kolia, Tikasore, Chikansugia, Ganga Teata, Kola Tutse, Suyata, Nidung Tayata, Kyunugudus in Meva Sovina, Kolia Kalekaze, Gazet Dushevine, Chiro Jao Dushin, Pelor Curiosity, Ganga Marma Charma, the Chuntu Marege, Chesa, Sosugi, Contra di Meva Masiva, Contra Onge, Shalia, Tubze Tang, Chick Meva, Neraptilia, Pajo de Litus, my Nyacha Dust. Jik mewa suitukurde, yang li chini haja, konzu pe kokab radu, sosol newa ki yungurwa, ben dirwa da jagab chigi ne, sosol pe chik mirik penzu yina, mirik chini, mirik deos wanshi che yuwa di mirik gyo alaya chi 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 yinsa, di negab tala ganga te tugi ne, yang gansam chi liya, an de sugi thwane ya, konzu dos che radu, tsuli ganga te yungurwa, chiza maa ina da arwa, jagab sosol maa kya ne, jik maa kya ne, taa chuni da, sosol ya, 지게 내균에 맞지와 자기는 쇠투민도와데 이제 가세 제가 충충질을 맞자면은 디네 양한에 양도 컨트롤 내기 용도 하잖아 내기도 제가 균이 몇수 퇴야 말 같이 디네 제바이나 소수게 해당 자오도 마도 하지 치료기 미들에 아 자오 디레스 디메와서 해야기 되네 도시까지 다음에는 요다 강아디 매와서 차기 말까지 요다 양한에 양도 리용 패주고 돼서 마음만 거래지 랑게 자오 Sheda, Rangi Sheda, Jao Maduna, Chiro Jao Dushin, Pelor Gyalse, Disigor.
So looking at these first two lines, whilst the enemy of my own anger remains unsubdued. So looking at this first line here, clearly identifies our enemy, and that is our own anger. There's no reference here to an external enemy, this person, that type of behavior, that type of speech. It's not referring to anything external, it's internal. Enemy of my own anger, that afflicted mind of anger. This is one of our true enemies, these afflicted minds. As long as we still are subjected to these afflictions, we will suffer. Afflictions harm ourselves. Through harming us, we bring harm into the lives of others. Afflictions only cause unhappiness for ourselves and lead us to bring unhappiness into the lives of others. So this is in the first line of this verse, because this has to be recognized. Our habituation as ordinary beings is to point to circumstances or people and say, that is the source of my suffering. That is not the source of our suffering. The suffering comes from within because of the presence of our afflictions. And then this is explained in the second line. And the second line can be read in differing ways. Though I may conquer external foes, inner ones will only increase. Or alternatively, though I may conquer external foes, enemies will only increase. So the meaning then of the second line is, ordinary beings who believe the source of suffering is outside of them, comes from other people or situations and events, even if they dominate and destroy and eliminate those people that they believe bring harm to them, or those situations, they get rid of them, they destroy them, they eliminate them, lasting stable peace does not come. If they have conflict with a person and they argue back, we see that they may win the argument, they may conquer this external foe, but their problems will only increase because of the habituation to this mind of anger. Or moreover, where we see conflict, physical conflict as an illustration between people. Whilst one person, one nation may win, it doesn't lead to lasting peace. Conflict will return. So therefore we can see that enemies only increase. The second way this can be understood. What is being presented here in the second line is, as long as we put our energy into changing the source of our suffering as being external to us, as long as we continue to see the source of our suffering as external to us and try and change that, we will never be able to eliminate suffering. we'll never be able to eliminate our anger. Our anger will only increase. So that's the inner meaning of inner. Our enemies, our problems will only increase.
rangi shetan di rangi chawongone di shetan ri dore cheta shetan di meba syoku gures cheta shetan meba kana syoku gure lamna adele nibadele dechiri jamna ninje ma hongi rangyu duwa kese lalin inside chesada mal ma sona di shetan de la ma jani jam ninje gom gure che jamna ninje ma hongi inside chesa rangi 심전이야 저 심전에 잠바당 미 심전 탐제 대화도 되나 선비게 야 잠바콤 심전 탐제 동화다 자고도 선비게 안 동화다 되고 니지콤 잠바다 니지콤 바이나 도지 콤바네 소소랑랑 귀기 콘트레드 마 시주레스 매바 쇠고레스 진짜 랑규 두레스 랑규 두세데 대신하도 콘트롤 계제 마지고 쇠야디 니 매바 쇠주고레 매바 쇠고레 진짜 대제 잠난 이제 마봉기 랑규 두와 세데 랑규 두야디 아니 대 콘트롤드 마 시에데 수수고레스 잠니지 콤바이나 디기 콘고레스 진짜 말라 마소나 마자근데 콘트롤 마자근데 잠니지들레스 진짜 잠니지디 가지고 막볼 막선데 잘라 마자 마봉디 같이 톱체나 페니디 매바 쇠라 레라요로와 지상은 저기 잠니지도 곰 안에 야도 야네 곰제네 디파 뉴버 침부도 톱 침부 쇠데 디기 랑귀기 안 콘트레드 바 매바 두투 그레스 지상 랑유두아 세 디시거레.
So how then to eliminate our true enemy, our real enemy, this afflicted mind of anger? That's presented in the second couplet of this verse. Therefore, through the forces of love and compassion, subduing my own mind is the practice of bodhisattvas. The bodhisattva and the aspirant bodhisattva having recognized that it is anger that is the true enemy, cultivates the minds that are completely opposed to that or contrary to that. In order to subdue their mind, they develop the contrary minds to anger, namely love and compassion. So the author of our text continues the analogy utilizing a military might. So we're talking about enemies, so we think of warfare. And here in the third line, we have the term forces, as if the bodhisattva's army is comprised of love and compassion. Or another way to translate this, the weapons that a bodhisattva uses to destroy, to slay the enemy of anger, are the weapons of love and compassion. And just like in ordinary warfare, the more power a general has, the more easily they'll win the war. Similarly, the more powerful the mind of love, the more powerful the mind of compassion, the stronger the weapons of the bodhisattva, the quicker their mind will be subdued. The more effective they'll be in subduing and eventually eliminating the enemy of anger.
Dine inza janju semba namgi nyamane ya ane kongro sedi gyuen da jisan rangi zhawo rangshin niga la gale suge me dunga zhikende pashe kongro resha sembe kongro je jisan kongro de meba sugudu jisan chirogi mi ngarang su liya gabre liya ma jiwa suya da nga su ma chuba jaya da ji yungure de zhangwene de su re mindu jisan ni re mindu de su ngang zuge nye resha si da nye resha si jisan dine inza de su liya 당아주 잠니지 곰 지산 잠바다 자와의 니지 곰고 될래 콘트사에 민도 삼지 내내기 콘트 유엔다 안에 지게 현디게 현심전디게 차상 랑이 니인바 하고 위 토네 안에 전주sem바 남기 두치네 녀만에야 전주sem 냠는 집이 갑르나 저sem 마지 니래네 두치네 야네야도 곰고래서 안에 곰치네 디 곰발에 텐데 냠는 제지 안에 잠니지 디 야 누버 철세 신제 전주 셈바디게 잠바다 인주 공부도 게 전주 셈게요 소수규라 콘트로디게 봐 도제 안에 지게 자워티 매바 수가래 제산다 소수규로 콘로 매바 있나 아니 디톤에 시한에 강아져요 말에 근데 랑마기가 차요 말에 제산 랑 디긴 대완이 대와래 제산 랑기 콘로균에 예매바 콘로 송비 수림디 아니 배 띵부 누가 첨부 차고 디기 아니 개와치마이나 하다 미고 봐도 여기 첨부 차 유차야다 아니 장기 고 봐도 다 녀줘 시한이야 아니 판박게 첨부 쭉 도요 거래 대대자 진심바 남기도 전에 니마는 곰도 전에 냠내 나와래세 안도 승고로 와다
Bodhisattvas, when they gave rise to the aspiration to strive wholeheartedly to become bodhisattvas, when they were still ordinary beings, looking at their situation with honesty, they saw that when anger and minds of the class of anger, such as annoyance and frustration, arise, it disturbs any sense of peace or happiness that they had. And moreover, through their reflections on suffering and the cause of suffering, they realize that afflictions only ever cause suffering. Anger is never justified. The aspirant bodhisattva came to see that anger, like all the other afflictions, is never justified, and it has to be eliminated, completely eradicated. Coming to see that afflictions such as anger are never justified, should always be overcome. The aspirant bodhisattvas strove to develop the contrary minds within themselves, the minds of love and compassion. So through meditating on the stages in the ways that we've had described already, bringing about a feeling of closeness to others, overcoming any feeling of closeness to some and distance from others. With that foundation, they started to generate love and compassion for others. And as these grew in strength within themselves, anger would weaken and dissipate. So as we see in the second line, how anger can grow and increase when acted on. Here, the aspirant bodhisattva, their anger was actually weakening because the mind that was contrary to that, namely love as well as compassion, were growing in strength. And the bodhisattva was motivated to do this and to make great efforts in these meditations because of the understanding not only of the faults of the afflictions, but of the benefits of eradicating them, in that a mind that is freed of anger is a peaceful, calm, gentle and spacious mind. Not only then is that being in a calm and peaceful state, but is able to interact with others in ways that are beneficial, in ways that do not bring harm to others, that are not harmful to others. And moreover, as love and compassion grow within the aspirant bodhisattva, they know the attainment of bodhicitta and the actual bodhisattva paths comes ever closer, and thereby so too does Buddhahood, the longed for state, the state where they can be of greatest benefit to others.
라신이가 마지버서 컨트롤해서 제상 컨트롤 되기랑 마도 소소로 컨트롤면은 파쇼게 가래라 랍샤나 네 마지부 차야가 민도 제상 컨트롤해서 제상다 컨트롤 매바 쇼구도 섬제 다 컨트롤 마기야 매바 쇼구도 섬제 될래야 하는 거 저기 시한이야 잠바단 제와 공부리에서 잠제가 제나가 공부리 제상 잠제 컨트롤이 년보 매바 쇼야데 잠제들이 제상 잠제까지 숙체 공부에네 맞을 컨트롤이 숙충하고 컨트롤 용하요 이런 거래 Bendigo 왔다가 저기 소수기 모싱 받아 저 미들에 가지 잠재 여바네 콜로 컨트롤해야 돼 중화로 와 ben에 파마로 소수 부글 빼 저와 휴지 잠재 여바네 부디 노르 제베네 샤라 컨트롤랑 말봐 아는 저기 부디 야 지금 아말에 바지 주비네 파 컨트롤랑 말아 저 잠재 여바자 잠재 맨에 뛰어서 말은 남성 컨트롤랑 들어와서 뒤로 되네 인자 그냥 두 삼다체 아 저이네 안 니마저 주sem바디기 잠이 조금제 수수라라는 게 컨트롤이 매바 수여제 안제 자주sem바 차바래 지자 시안에 판도 개치부 두두거래 지자 나라이네야 xianlia jamba de ningji de gomje susu ju kongro de meba sugin samje ane di nga zu kongro yuan tongje dine yanza susu rangi xianlia jamje gomya di ni yane yangdo gomya de diyan ji jamje gomya de simje chasanglia simje tamje le mije 잠제 공마다 가시엘 잠제 공마다 가시엘 야지 마공마 되는지나 안지 잠제 뒤니버 춘슈마 제거 말에 뒤니 연자 저기 잠제 심자 탐제 대화대 대나 선바다 심자 탐제 동안에 자고서 잠제 공마다 안디토네랑기 강그 니베 강 쪽에 샬리아 펜버 주야다 동아세다 디기 주야리아 니 직직이 인생백이 뒤니 판도 주변 선백 누스제네 안에야도 공부를 해서 올 땅을 저기 랍제레한데 디레 삼다에도 공부해 디차고래.
So the way for practitioners at our level that we should relate to this Bodhisattva training is that it's imperative we come first of all to be very to come to reflect to come to recognize the faults of anger. We need to understand that anger or any mind within this class, its mere arisal harms us, and our expression. Our interaction with others under the influence of this afflicted mind of anger only harms others. No one is joyful to meet a person who's angry or frustrated or annoyed. Anger only causes harm to oneself and to others. Dependence then on our prior reflections, seeing the great faults of the afflictions and the grave danger they pose, this understanding will come about quite readily. Likewise, we also have a lot of experience of how anger does distort our perception and create unnecessary harm. We can think of how we have responded differently in a similar situation, depending on whether we like someone or dislike them. So if a friend says something quite rude to us, or someone we dislike says those same words in the same way to us, we will almost certainly respond very differently because of the absence or presence of the mind of anger. Similarly, if we are in a situation that is a little bit frustrating and we're in a good mood, we deal with it fine because of the lack of anger. If we're in a bad mood, but in that same situation, anger is going to arise and we're going to deal with that situation very unskillfully. So we have experience like this. Therefore can easily see the faults of anger. So this is the first step for us, to recognize the faults of the afflictions, in this case anger, and then we need to recognize the benefits of being freed of anger, and in particular of cultivating the mind that is contrary to anger, love, reflecting on the great benefits of having a loving disposition. And here it's important to understand the mind of love, which is the mind that wants others to be happy, needs to be impartial. If we generate partial love only for some but not for those, such a mind of love, because of its partiality, will remain weak, not be very effective. The love that is being spoken about here, the love that will become the love of a bodhisattva, needs to be impartial, because that is the appropriate mind of a bodhisattva. So therefore the first step is to recognize the fault of anger. Secondly, the benefits of love. Having recognized that, then the aspirant bodhisattva ourselves, we are ready to embark with great vigor, with great energy in eliminating anger, cultivating love.
Dösha sediri, jisan chas jikdi dösha tshadiri. Dösha ki kiye jisan nga zuki, ma chi dösha ki ongi da kongro saya, an jen liya, nyoba cheya, an jen ki jala choya, da rangshen niga la nyoba kiye di dösha di li kore. Kongro kiye na kongro digi, kongro khurang kiye chana nyoba chigma da, kongro digi la, kongro di ongi nga jaya kiye mare, dösha kiye mare, an digi marwa. 다 되셔야 될라 때네 가르치 오스네 소수기 류라 차바다 소수기 연대라 차베 견진네 나야야요래 소수기 차베 왕기 소수기 차베 돈다데 마루디 되네 콘트로기 그래 지상 콘로에기 되셔라 되는 콘로기 거래 나게기 거래 되니게 짜마라 랭고르다 지상 되셔야되기 기인지는 하나 줄이야 지강한 동아랑 마기와 셴마기와 수에도 되셔라 저 자원이 되셔래 지상 되셔 매봐서 그래 지상 대지셰와 나시 소소기기 되셔야 매봐 마서바데 치료기 무시한 미디게 소소 되스네 나마르와 되게 자원에서 뒤에는 지부지기하래 그 교인들 강아지 마마 차야마도 안되지 강아지 충주야 말에 제가 다 되셔 두고 그래서 그러다 다 직지들이 니를 마시선 직지로 주로다
We came now to this new section. We spoke about the mistake that beings make by believing that the source of happiness and suffering lies in the external world, and that those who give harm to oneself or those that we care for, or those who stand in the way of what we want or others want, or circumstances that are contrary to our wishes, that the elimination of those circumstances is what will eliminate suffering. This is mistaken, and we spoke then about how our true enemies are not to be found in the world outside of us or in the continuum of other beings, but within our own continuum. And these are our true enemies are the three poisons of ignorance, attachment, and anger. And we've spoken about the first of these three true enemies, that of anger. The second now to look at is that of attachment. So anger, people readily recognize is a fault. This is what is to a degree within society is recognized as a fault. From our Buddhist perspective, anger is never justified. But in society, anger sometimes is. Attachment is quite different though. Attachment serves a different role from anger. When anger arises, anger is what is experienced and acted upon. When attachment rises, attachment can lead to other afflictions, which anger doesn't do. When attachment arises, pride can also come, an additional afflicted mind. When attachment arises, anger can also come, an additional afflicted mind. So in this way, attachment differs from anger in that it can lead to further afflicted minds arising. An attachment being an affliction only leads to suffering. When it arises in one's own continuum, one suffers. When one acts under its influence, others are harmed too. Attachment arises very readily within us, to a wide variety of objects. Can be attached to our physique, to our nationality, to whatever good qualities we have or resources we have. And from such attachment, pride will come. Pride in how we look, pride in about our qualities of our personality, or pride in the skills that we have, or pride in our resources. And this all comes from attachment. Moreover, when other people or circumstances impede our desire, impede our attachment, anger will come. And in this way, from attachment comes anger. So we just spoke how from attachment, for example, to our physique, pride comes. From our desired wishes, from the wish for things to go in our way, or our attachment to a particular view, when others disagree with that, or others disagree with our view or impede our wishes, anger follows. So therefore, as anger comes from attachment, if we don't eliminate attachment, because beings can never act always perfectly in accordance with our wishes, we will always have external enemies. We'll always have external enemies until we have eliminated our attachment, our true enemy of attachment.
아주 되셔서 배글이 저 생리야 입지도 사모하신 배정시 배네 심이기 자로 주가로도 편에서 싹싹싹 얘기하려는 자리 부르고 주고 말아 진짜 심이되게 봐 삽삽시오지 갈리지 론 자리 주고로 온디나 신지 용거를 되셔야 돼 배는 아주기 잘라지기 미잘라 닝치워 지외네 내가 아주 야네 비지다도 남사 아주 야와 타도 남사 잘라들 잡아기 말아 내가 좀 찔려 안 두서 베제대에서 야고도 좀 되네 차고도 슈슈슈슈 제진데 되네 나 가좀 자 차고 슈치 못지네 되네 잘라디 소소라야가 되지 아니야요 하는 고마고 아니야요래 근데 나중에 지금 미편주의네 나보보다 보면 수인네 나보토에는 잡아기 말아봐다 다 투니 아주 투 기시라시 나 지금 글리지 기시라시도 전자라도 되네 잡아도 글리지 리고 당아서 아 먹었지 근데 가슴 질 치부참 잡아디 먼저 잘라리나다 유잘라리나다 밀리나다 잡아게 걔 충충 리고라 하고 말다 첨부를 마서는 갈 가슴 첨부차는 마다 하고 두고 말다 진짜 잡아서 파데 레알베 지기 힘이기 자 주가 도바나신 진 두스니 용거래 진짜 잡아서 뱀마시기 아 지금 지게 소수기 잘라 미 편주 매도다 신의 직항바로다 되네 차상이야 소수게 다송 매변에 현다기네 되니기 잡아지 아니하로 진짜 잡아서 뱀마서 용 레알이야 레로고 신바지래야 아니지 레 대부 아니 레말라 하모고와 용하지 차고로 진짜 야 갈 가슴 침부차는 마다 하고 말이네 소소 하고도 너한테 침부차서
Anger is something that when it arises within ourselves, it's pretty easy to recognize that anger has arisen, or frustration or annoyance. Similarly, others can recognize when it has arisen within us as well without too much difficulty. Attachment, though, attachment is much sneakier. Attachment is difficult to recognize. Sure, if it's dominant within us and we've had some training, then we can recognize strong, manifest attachment. But it's difficult to recognize slightly subtler levels, let alone the many layers of subtlety that come to attachment. Attachment, the way it works, we can perhaps think of when a cat sees a bird. Immediately the cat assumes, their ears prick up, they assume a new posture, and they sneak up on the bird to try and catch it. So this is how attachment works with us, within us. It is a sneaky affliction. It is not obvious like anger is. So just like the cat makes no noise and stealthily tries to catch its prey, this is how attachment works within us. So often, for example, if there's a particular material possession, until we have seen its great benefit to us, perhaps in terms of prestige, or maybe it's just useful, we're not going to be particularly attached to it. But when we realize that that is a brand that people appreciate, or this will say things about us that we, having this, we'll feel very special about ourselves, or it's something very useful in our lives, then we become very attached to it. Then we'll have great difficulty in giving it to others. And similarly, when attachment grows in relations with others, it's only after the relationship has been cultivated to a certain degree that attachment becomes very strong. Attachment often takes time to grow and sneaks up on one, catches one by surprise. It has been there all along, growing in strength, but because it's difficult to realize, we don't recognize it until it's overwhelmed us, just like the bird that is caught by the cat. The cat was there. The cat was there from a distance and came ever closer. And until it had been pounced upon, the bird had no idea about the cat's presence. This is the position that we find ourselves in with attachment. And it's not only that it's sneaky, but it's the pervasive way, its pervasiveness. We are attached to such an array of things, from what there is in an abundance. For example, beautiful flowers. Attachment readily arises. So for the natural world, as well as for possessions. These are the obvious things, as well as for people. But we also are attached to our views. We are attached to wanting things to be our way. There's many degrees of subtlety to attachment, and the widest array of objects to which it arises. And therefore, being difficult to recognize, the ease with which it arises, attachment is very difficult to eliminate. This brings us then to the 21st practice of Bodhisattvas. Sensual pleasures can be likened to drinking salt water. The more I indulge, the more my craving intensifies. Abandoning immediately those things which breed desirous attachment is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Look at the first line then. Sensual pleasures can be likened to drinking salt water. And it continues, the more I indulge, the more my craving intensifies. We all know that drinking salt water cannot satiate our thirst. So we were as young children, we were advised against, we were warned against drinking salt water because this will not alleviate our thirst. What we have not been advised against is that sensual pleasures, the indulgence in the pleasures of our senses, do not satiate our cravings. Because, as we see in the second line, the more I indulge, the more my craving intensifies. If we think of how we live our lives, to whatever extent we recognize this, we tend not to live our lives very well in accordance with this. Think of a time perhaps when you either got a new job with a pay increase, or you received a pay rise at work. So you're at the time very happy. Now I have more money than before, more disposable income, I can pay my bills better, I have more money left over. But then, not so long, thinking actually, I wouldn't mind another pay rise. I really hope I get the next promotion because I could do with an even bigger salary. And this is how we live our lives. And it's like this with with everything that we are attached to, when we fulfill our desires, we don't stay satiated for long. Very quickly, we want more. And in the case with wealth, no matter how much one earns, and if you maybe reflect back to what you're earning now and what you were earning before, it's not that now we say, oh, I've got enough. You're never satiated. Even if you had all the wealth in the world, it wouldn't be enough. And this is the problem with attachment. The more we indulge in the pleasures of our senses, never leads to our craving in being satiated, it just grows.
Jisam Singiba, Jisam Jing, Seva Pelwar Gyalse, that is Sheba Najire, Jisan Dubi, Duyan La Chape Chabadi, Namsang and Mabamba, some Mabamba ina, Gyun Daji, de Mabamba, de Shasha Baina, Gazi, Yejuvine, Anti Chapadia, Shu Church, Ben Dubigi, Deshi Sheba Najin, Muidesana, de Mahas Hood, Jim Mambush Ravana, Yadin Mahos, Benaz, Modal Mas, Moda Tirana. Then Jig Benjo Yang Chapakin, Diangal, Ni, with some Xing up, then the Bejo Sheraman among 1 year shed in the Yungurova, and the Jig Kambachi and Adianchi Company, the other Kambashi and Kamata such a Gigi Goose. Then the Jachaman Gazi Rana, Devakaya, Machisa, Seba the Peltro, Seba the Cheshire to Richard.
Sensual pleasures can be likened to drinking salt water. The more I indulge, the more my craving intensifies. There really is truth here, because the more we have, the more we want. If you think about it, really is quite remarkable, but this is the case. Hence, it being likened to salt water, because not only does drinking salt water not satiate one's thirst, one's craving grows. And this is an important truth to recognize. And the technique to recognize it is look at your own life and see whether this is true or not. Think of when you perhaps got a longed-for object, perhaps a lovely new car. And one was very happy, drove around in the car with some pride, but very soon one was thinking of getting the newer model, or perhaps a second one. Maybe when you bought a new home, you moved in there with great joy, unpacked and decorated. This was the home of your dreams. But after not so long, one was looking at a different neighborhood, thinking of perhaps a larger house, moving somewhere else. And this is something that we all have a lot of experience of. This is because no matter how much we indulge in our pleasure, the objects of our sense pleasures, the objects of our senses, the craving for them is never satiated, but in fact grows.
Dane dine inza da dösha de ba nyembo tenje dösha de ba meba suku gores jizan trawo dösha de meba su de gandes meba su gore la na da gala shincha ki yu ngobo na chala pongwa gese la le yin se je di dingi digi danda kar sung gore sene gala shincha ki yu ngobo na so so ge chakwa gese gi ngobo di namsang 람사파 아니 델레 양흥스 자고래 제래 베네 내가 프렌드야 베네 안 저기 저기 남유 저기 잘라다 되네시 야고 통বে네 소소메나 되네 통어들 람사 잡기는 되네게 잘라유 초들이 파 마다와지 디초라 마도와지 되스 양흥스 제 되베나 남사자 되네 잘라디 마통나 잡기 말해 제래 디 마통와다 디고 마녀면에 잡기 말해서 제가 잡기 람사 이 차바기에 유디파 남산 타릉스진에 양흥스요. 다디 내가 저기 내가 저기 부부모로 신에 즉 편저 가격에반에 다디는 야세 통나 야게 차바데가 제가 휴시해 주고로 제가 되는게 디기 계시에 만디고 계시 많이 받지 디미 마도 마다와지 되는시 되고 그래서 진짜 디고 삼 마다시 샤샤바이나 이제 차바기에 유디를 삼 마다와 디고 암초 많이 봐 디도나 믹 마다와 디도나 디고 삼 마다와 샤샤바이나 델레 차바기베디 내가 또 두고 그래서 내가 또 해야 돼 찰라 뽕서야 돼当然 저기 양직이 규절하다 되네려 신체 차바기용도 안돼 델레 촉시된 거래 촉시 제가 랑게 된다라 랑게 최위 튕긴 두비하게 랑기 베제다야 자야도야다 소소기 소야기 된 베제다들 되는지데 지기도 무슨 비기 촉시시고 촉시된 거를 해제래 촉시마딘 바지 니양 알고 대오데 되네 호든 제제반은 차바의 숙체세 패로 그래 되는 촉시된 거래서 제가 뭐 차바기 유디기야 남산 찰바 남산 장릉신 바 삼마다샤야다 되는 양 되는게 촉시된야지게 아니 게 침보 되네나 나 차바디기 배 그래서 내가 프링리야 안 두스네 가도 그래서 우리 중앙으로 그래서 야 페르고 말해서 저거 숙체셔도 말해줘.
Knowing that afflictions are true enemies, then it's these that we have to abandon. The second couplet advises how to do so. Abandoning immediately those things which breed desirous attachment is the practice of bodhisattvas. So here the advice is, whatever the object is of our desires, when we notice attachment arising for it, we need to separate ourselves from it, place some distance between ourselves and it, as if we had never heard of it before. For example, if there's someone that we are very attached to, but perhaps they don't reciprocate that feeling, if we keep meeting them, this person of our dreams, our attachment will only grow. We need to separate ourselves. And in this way, when we aren't in their presence, we will start slowly to think of them less, and in this way, our attachment will slowly dissipate. So separating ourselves from the object of attachment, whether it's separating ourselves physically, certainly separating ourselves mentally, this is one technique. A second key technique is to cultivate the mind of contentment. When we look at what we have, and look at it with honesty, is this sufficient? And mostly we'll see we don't need to upgrade, we don't need to have something better. Mostly what we have is sufficient. And not only, and if we are skillful and we've thought well about the faults of the afflictions, not only will we see that what we have is sufficient, it is actually ideal because it's not giving rise to strong afflictions such as attachment or as pride. And therefore, contentment for what we have, seeing what we have as suitable and sufficient, this should be cultivated. So through using techniques such as these, separating ourselves from the object of attachment, cultivating contentment, then our attachment does not grow so easily.
다 차바세 지금 망보로와 치료기 잘라라 차페 차파 미션라 차페 차파 아니 되연라 차페 차파 아니 랑기 류라 차페 차파 랑기 안 따와라 차페 차방이 따와디 차징이 따와디 약보려서야다 소수기 네 수부터 배 약보여서야 소소수 류라 차페 차파 다마는 거로 제가 현기 치료기 유 강바다 매도다 미 현라 소바 아니 되니기 차바께 봐이나 내가 보는 쪽에 들려야 디고 맛이 장릉스되나 내가 차바디 깨야라 가수고로 봐 이내 랑기 류라 차바 차바다 랑기 따와라 차베 차바는 소소 찍부 되지 현다 가고 마치베네 니가 가수야 될 거래 가보러 봐 이거 말어 봐 진짜 아니 양 저기 마주기 뒤에라 차바 차바디게 촉시된 바이나 내가 브링 때 되샤 차바 야마페 봐라 핑기어를 가두고리 마도 에나 되샤 띵도 마 자원이 매버서야 돼야 될 거래 가봐 차고로 봐 안디네 인자다 조다 저기 띵네 되샤도 매버서야다 랑다 셴 차상라 빅빅 차바도 매버서야라 난 년보 삼다 지팀 미다바고 말이야 셴 치료부 미다 잘라다 가레네 랑기 류이나 랑게 따완 차상 미다바 끼지기지 지바레 마도 대소 따바 템부가요 말이야 제가 유로야 돼 지루 거서 미다바 삼다야다 되네 대소 자 나와서 나와 나시 되니기 차비에 짐바나 유디게 차상 안에 지게 다신 집에서나 나와 나시 자오기요 말이야 제가 다신 집에서나 강来么多人文女主对吧？这早已经有嘛了。这是车上累怕下站多被怕 大律法大法这么多，大乘性别成的那些落了那完了，在我的也有嘛的上节都是呢，大没把东北一过上大节，公巴一呢，人插过的早晚的没把水啊的啊，那也不的切过的，就是没把水吐过的。现在讲究什么，也是讲究什么那边都是你们能过的。
As was mentioned earlier, attachment has many differing levels of both subtlety as well as a wide variety of objects to which it arises. We attach to ourselves, our own physique, to the physique of others. We can be attached to our good qualities, the good qualities of others. Certainly can be attached to material possessions, and we can be attached, and we are attached to views, to wishes, to desires, wanting things to go a certain way, believing that this is a correct view or that is a mistaken view. A wide variety of things that we are attached to, as well as then the degrees of subtlety with which we are attached to these objects. So the technique presented here, as well as the additional one that's been presented, these are effective. For example, if we attach to a material object or a person, separating ourselves from that object of attachment will lead to our attachment reducing, especially if we can separate ourselves mentally from thinking about it. But what do we do if we attach to our own body and we think, oh, actually, I look quite good, etc., and we attach to our own physique? We can't separate ourselves from our own body. We can't separate ourselves from our own views. So therefore, that technique, whilst useful, is only applicable in certain circumstances. Similarly with contentment. Contentment is a very effective technique. Being satisfied with what we have. If we are content, we're not going to be drawn in desiring a variety of things. However, even if we are content, this alone cannot lead to the elimination of attachment. Makes our attachment more manageable, not so gross. But it doesn't eliminate attachment. So therefore, bodhisattvas don't solely rely on these two techniques. Rather, they employ an additional two, and so too should we. The third technique then, with the first being separating ourselves from the object, the second being cultivating the mind or contentment, now the third is, as we've heard several times, to reflect on impermanence. That whatever it is that we are attached to, whether it's our own body, the body of someone else, a material object, or views, or desires, wanting things in a particular way, these are all impermanent. They've come about, dependent on causes and conditions, therefore they momentarily change, and therefore they will cease. So we are desiring something that is transitory in nature, that will be exhausted, something that has come about from causes and conditions which were contaminated. This is inappropriate. This is foolish. So reflecting on impermanence is skillful. And that's the third technique that bodhisattvas employ. The fourth and the most powerful is reflecting that everything that appears to our mind does not exist in the way that it appears. So whether it's a material object, whether it's another person, whether it's a good quality, whether it is a view, whatever it is, it appears to our mind. That object appears to our mind, and it doesn't exist in the way that it appears. Rather, it exists as a mere imputation by mind. It doesn't exist in the way it appears to our mind, but exists merely or only as an imputation by mind. So this fourth point, the bodhisattva here is meditating on the empty nature of phenomena, cultivating the wisdom realizing emptiness, cultivating the wisdom realizing selflessness. So these two additional trainings of the reflections on impermanence and emptiness is how bodhisattvas train, and so too should we.
난데 내 전체 전체 선바 남기 다 되샤다 콘트기 괜 딘디 저거 딩원에 샤슴지 디기 괜 통제 디마 안데 방야기 돈다라 안지게 녀리야 안지게 녀가 디바 되샤마게 되라 차리야 유디게 장릉스튜디오 안디기 니수 삼마다 샤야다 안디네 자원이 메어서야리야 안디 미다바 삼다야다 다음에 동바기 남샤 검제 두신 안에 두는 거레스게 달란데 는 거레스 제자다 나와자다 나와주 이내야 나와주기 저 콘트라다 되샤세야 되게 달배 교연 차상 딜레트네 용구도 선배 되샤를 교연 다제 제산 교연 임하고 와제 되네자 맞아 되샤게 유여반에 유디길이야 바타 장릉스제 디니서 삼마다시 돼야다 내내 랑기 변조로시네 소소 되숑 초셰데 랑기 된다라 추위 튕견 주야다 디제네 되숑 초셰데야다 초셰 냠레지야 안디네자다 양아직 데니기 변조하다 가디네 차상 안에 지금 미다베고 삼다야 안 다음에 베고 동반이고 삼다야 누두치네 야네 야동은 주도 제바제네 안에 야네도 공고리스 디네 제바이나 나주길이야 안 차바도 슈슈슈 줘도 그래서 어두스 냠네 난고레스 송거와
Bodhisattvas having gained a clear recognition of the dangers that the afflictions pose. They have also come to recognize that it's attachment and anger that are our true enemies, are our actual enemies. So therefore, in order to overcome these afflictions, they make great effort to destroy them through the techniques that have been presented here. So for ourselves, who want to become bodhisattvas too, we should emulate their example. By this point, we would have reflected in great detail on the faults of the afflictions, the dangers that the afflictions pose. Anger, attachment clearly pose grave danger. But here, furthermore, we are recognizing that these are our actual enemies. Our enemies do not abide anywhere than within. And the enemies are the three poisons of ignorance, attachment, and anger. So we need to see clearly for ourselves the faults of all the afflictions in particular. Here we're talking about these root poisons, because it's these that cause so much harm and suffering to ourselves and others. So anger, it's much easier to recognize it. It's much easier to recognize its faults. We need to strive to eliminate anger. Attachment, though, we need to make ever greater effort, because attachment is much more difficult to recognize. Attachment is also deceptive, so it's also more difficult to recognize the danger that it poses. So first here, we need to come to see clearly the faults of the afflictions. Secondly, apply the antidotes. When we are strongly attached to a material object, physically separate ourselves, endeavor to separate ourselves mentally as well. And with regard to possessions, cultivate contentment with regard to what we have. And in this way, our desire always to have new, more, better, this will start to arise less regularly. And when it does, reflect on what we have, develop contentment, seeing we don't often need something new or better. And in particular, we need to reflect on impermanence, and we need also to reflect on the fourth antidote, that of cultivating the wisdom realizing emptiness through reflecting on dependent arising. Because it's these latter two antidotes, impermanence and in particular the cultivation of the wisdom realizing emptiness, that is able to eliminate attachment. And the more effort we put into the cultivation of these antidotes, the weaker the afflictions such as anger and attachment will be for us, the less harm they will cause in our lives and the lives of others. Then tomorrow we'll continue with the third of our inner enemies, the third poison of ignorance. So thank you very much.